think of dentures, what comes to mind? Probably a glass on a nightstand, right? It's a classic image. But what if I told you that this very familiar, very old-school solution for a lost smile has been completely turned on its head by the same kind of tech that helps build jet engines? Yep, let's get into how your grandma's dentures went fully digital. Okay, so let's just put this side by side to see what a huge leap we're talking about. Over on the left, you've got the old way. You remember it, right? All those messy impression materials, so many long appointments, and just a whole lot of waiting and guesswork. It was a process. But now, look at the right, the new way. We're talking quick, clean scans, way fewer visits, and a result that's built with pinpoint digital accuracy. It's not just an improvement, it's a whole new ballgame for the patient. And you know, this whole shift wasn't just about chasing after the latest shiny new tech. Not at all. The move to digital was a direct answer to some really fundamental problems that dentists and lab technicians have been wrestling with for decades. To really nail this, innovators were focused on three big goals. First, they had to be strong. I mean, they have to stand up to daily life, right? Second, they had to look completely natural, totally seamless. And finally, the whole process of making them had to get better, easier, faster, and way more accurate for everybody. These were the big mountains they had to climb. So, what was the hero technology that made all this possible? It's called CAD/CAM. That stands for Computer-Aided Design and Computer-Aided Manufacturing. And it's actually pretty simple when you break it down. You use a computer to design something with incredible precision, and then you tell a machine to build that exact design in the real world. This is the engine that drives the whole revolution. All right, so that all sounds pretty great in theory, but what does it actually look like when a patient goes in? It might sound super complex, but the entire digital process can be broken down into three really elegant and straightforward steps. Here's the roadmap, plain and simple. First, you scan to get all the data. Then, you design the perfect smile using that data. And finally, you create the actual denture from that digital blueprint. Scan, design, create. Let's take a quick look at each one. So, the scan phase is where you first feel the magic. I mean, forget those trays of goopy, kind of gross impression material. No more of that. Instead, a little wand, an optical scanner, just zips around your mouth and, in minutes, creates this perfect, incredibly detailed 3D model on a screen. It's clean, it's fast, and the accuracy is just amazing. Next up is design, and this is where the science really meets the artistry. That 3D model gets loaded into special software that has what you can only describe as a tooth library, a huge collection of beautifully shaped teeth. The designer can then pick, choose, and tweak everything to build a smile that is absolutely perfect for that specific person's face. And that brings us to the final step, create. The perfect digital file is now finished, and it gets sent over to a manufacturing machine. This is where the CAM, the computer-aided manufacturing, takes over, turning that flawless design on the screen into an object you can actually hold in your hand. Now, when it comes to actually making the denture from the file, there are two main high-tech options that are used today. You can either mill it, or you can 3D print it. And this slide explains the difference perfectly. Milling is what we call subtractive. It's like a sculptor. You start with a solid puck of super strong pre-cured material, and a tiny robotic arm carves away everything that isn't the denture. 3D printing is the opposite. It's additive. It builds the denture from the ground up, adding one microscopic layer of biocompatible resin at a time, kind of like building with Legos. Okay, the tech is cool, we get it, but what does all of this really mean for the person who actually needs the dentures? What's the bottom line for the patient? Well, this is where it gets really good. The advantages are just huge. We're talking fewer trips to the clinic, a much better and more comfortable fit because of that digital accuracy, and the use of really advanced safe materials. And here's the real game changer. Because your smile is now a digital file, if you ever lose or break your denture, a perfect copy can be made right away. No need to start the whole process over. And just to put that fewer appointments thing into perspective, the old way could easily take 5, 6, sometimes even more visits. With this new digital workflow, you're often done in just 2 or 3. That's a massive difference. And look, this isn't just theory or hype. The clinical studies are already coming in and they're showing really promising results. Patients are reporting that these new dentures just fit better and stay in place more securely. The data is backing up the experience. Now, as amazing as all this is, it's important to remember that this field is still evolving. It's not a solved problem. The innovators and pioneers are still pushing the envelope and trying to figure out a few remaining really tough challenges. For instance, here's a tricky one for you. That scanner I mentioned, it often uses existing teeth as little landmarks to stitch the 3D image together. So the big question becomes, how do you get a perfect scan of a jaw that has no teeth at all? No landmarks. It's a fascinating puzzle that the experts are working hard to solve. And here's another huge frontier: perfectly capturing the bite. The technical term is the maxillomandibular relationship, but it's really just how your upper and lower jaws fit together. That's a super complex, dynamic thing, and capturing it perfectly in a digital file is one of the toughest and most important parts of the whole process. So this brings us to a really fascinating final thought. We've always thought of a smile as something physical, something you could potentially lose. But in a world where your ideal smile exists as a permanent digital file, a blueprint that can be recreated perfectly at any time, have we made the human smile something that's impossible to truly lose ever again? It's a pretty powerful idea, and it shows just how far we've come.